Hayden Panettiere was a major star right from the get-go, from when she was a really, really young girl. She started in commercials when I believe she was just a toddler, and then she jumped into bigger movies. She was on a bunch of soap operas here. She was in Remember the Titans, a really big movie here. So she was pretty famous right from the get-go, and then she became a huge star when she joined Heroes, which was a huge NBC drama here with a lot of big stars on it, and that's when her fame really exploded.
I'm so excited. I was sitting in my limo going, come on, you gotta get me out of this car. I gotta go.
We'll go have some fun. Thanks for talking to us. Thank you.
She was exposed to a lot of really adult situations at a very young age. She said at just 15 years old, she was given quote unquote happy pills, which were supposed to make her peppy on red carpets and at work, just to like give her a boost of energy. And she says to this day, she had no idea what they were. And she said from there, that's when her addiction really started at just 15. So yeah, she was, and then she had a lot of other really negative experiences in her life. At, I believe, just 18, she said she was on a yacht when she was pushed into a bed with a much, much older man. And she had to escape the room. And she said that she was set up in that situation by someone she considered a friend. So obviously, there were a lot of adult situations when she was way too young to consent. She also said an executive, a Hollywood executive, kissed her on the lips when she was a teenager. And it was not consensual. So yeah, obviously she was exposed to a lot of partying. There were paparazzi pictures of her out in the town with Paris Hilton and other big stars when she was very young. So I know that her and her mom used to go party. She had a stage mother. At her death, she was estranged from, she had no relationship with, and she said that her mom really pushed her into the spotlight. Sounds like she grew up way too fast.
How you been, sweetie?
Good, how are you?
Excellent.
So Hayden's relationship with Vlad was a very stable relationship in the beginning. It seems that he was a great, stable force on her life. However, her problems seemed to get in the way due to all of the pressures she was dealing with and the mental health issues. They got engaged. I believe she was pretty young, in her early 20s, and then she had a baby in just 2014. I believe she was 25 years old. And they broke up soon after because she was dealing with serious addiction issues and very, very serious postpartum depression and anxiety. And they ultimately broke up, and he moved back to the Ukraine, and she stayed in Los Angeles. And there was a lot of conflict because Vlad brought her daughter with him, her daughter Kaya, to the Ukraine to live there. And she says she felt pushed to sign off custody to her ex. So he's had primary custody since she was a very little girl. And she has talked about how that completely destroyed her. She said she misses her every day. She feels absolutely devastated that she can't be a day-to-day mom to her daughter. However, it seems that her and Vlad at her death were on good terms, and she called him a very, very good hands-on dad. She has said that her postpartum depression and her alcoholism and addiction really mixed together. I believe there was a quote where she didn't know where one mental illness started and the other ended. And she really was incapable of being a hands-on mother with her daughter. And she ultimately went to rehab, and she left, I believe she was working on Nashville at the time, which was her next major TV show where she was the star. And she had to take time out. She went to rehab multiple times to try to get a hold of this. And unfortunately, she just continued to struggle with her postpartum, with her depression, with her alcoholism and addiction. And she just really couldn't get a hold on it, it seems, ultimately all her life. She said she went to rehab for 8 months in 2020, which we all know most people go to rehab when they go for 30 days. She went for 8 months, which is very serious amount of time. She said she was struggling with jaundice. Her eyes were yellow. Her alcoholism was so severe. She said that doctors gave her 5 years to live, which is obviously very serious and very eerie, knowing that she died just 6 years later. They said if you don't stop drinking and using drugs, you will die. So obviously it was a life or death situation when she the last time we know she went to rehab, which was in 2020. So it seems that things went up from there, at least for a time.
We all love you, Hayden.
So Hayden's little brother, Jansen, was found dead at his home in New York in 2023, so just 3 years ago. He was only 28 years old. I believe the cause of death was some sort of heart problems. However, she did say that he suffered from addiction issues as well. So that death absolutely left Hayden crushed, gutted. She felt that, she said, quote, half of my soul had died. So she really, really struggled in the last 3 years because Jansen was her best friend, her closest confidant, and she had lost him. So I believe she managed, at least for a time, to stay sober and stay strong during that time, but it very much affected her and left her absolutely devastated.
Hayden, straight ahead right here.
Hayden, one more right here. Hold on.
It's extremely tragic because it seemed that she was making her comeback in Hollywood and in the media. She was doing a bunch of interviews and being really honest and open about her struggles, which I think a lot of people related to. And she seemed that, she was making a really big Hollywood comeback. She had a movie that was out earlier this year, and it seemed like she really wanted her career back on track in Hollywood. And very, very tragically, she just only lived another 3 months from her last interviews earlier this spring. Hayden started dating Brian Hickerson back in 2018. People were a little suspicious. They knew that she was dealing with some mental health issues, with some alcoholism. There was a time when she was seen very drunk, falling over while he was carrying her at a bar in Los Angeles around that time. So people were immediately suspicious of Brian. I know from my time we covered their relationship a lot. It was very up and down, tumultuous. And ultimately, he was arrested multiple times for domestic abuse, for assaulting her in their relationship, punching her, kicking her, really, really horrible incidents of domestic violence. He ultimately served jail time for this, and she has said that their relationship was done. She was never going to speak to him again. She was going to ensure that he never abused anyone again. But sadly, it appears that they had gotten back together in the months before her death. She just, as of May, had said that they were broken up and no longer spoke. So people really were critical of him. They found him to be a bad influence, with the drinking, the drugging. So ultimately, it appears that she never was able to really break hold from Brian. On Saturday, Hayden and her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Brian Hickerson, flew from Los Angeles to South Carolina, which is where his hometown where he lived. And it appears just one day later, someone, we believe it could be Brian Hickerson, it could be some sort of friend, called 911 reporting that she was unresponsive and appeared to be in cardiac arrest. She was discovered in a room at an apartment complex in Greenville, South Carolina. The dispatch audio that we obtained says that it appeared she was suffering an apparent overdose. Cops and EMTs came to the scene, and unfortunately they were unable to revive her, and she was declared dead around 2:30 on Sunday afternoon. It's so very tragic, but it seems that Hayden just couldn't shake off all the problems of her past. It was so dark. She struggled with mental health, addiction, alcoholism, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and it seems that she just couldn't get past it. And she seems to be just another victim of this child star syndrome that we've seen through Hollywood for years.